Okay, I apologize for coughing all over you. Let's
All right.
start that over again.
Okay, so I was Equal Opportunity NCO for Northeast Region Recruiting Command, and heard a rumor that they were looking for senior NCOs to go to the Organizational Effectiveness School at Fort Ord, Monterey, in Monterey. And you had to have 2 years of college, which I didn't have. But I applied anyway. And so I went for an interview, and the funny thing was the guy I interviewed, this major, he was a helicopter pilot, and he had been pulling SOG guys out. And so we talked. The interview consisted of us sharing old times, and he selected me to go. And so I was in the first graduating class where they had NCOs and officers mixed. Then I went back to Fort Meade, Maryland, and consulted there a year, and then I went back and in the meantime, I got interested in this thing called neuro-linguistic programming. So they had a 1-hour class of that in the school, so I got interested in that. And so when I went to Fort Meade, I talked my boss into sending me to the practitioner course out at UC Santa Cruz. So I went to that, and then the next year I went back for the master practitioner course of neuro-linguistic programming. And then I got kind of a reputation for that, and so I applied to come on the faculty of the school, and I joined the faculty of the school teaching consultant skills. Mm-hmm. And then after I'd been there a year, they broke the school up. They defunded the whole project and shut the school down in a year. But
Really?
But they got rid of the NCOs right away. So I went to I called a buddy that I'd worked with in D.C. before, and he was the Equal Opportunity Officer for Intelligence and Security Command. So I went there. I was an E8 at the time, so I went there, and also because I was the only master practitioner in neurolinguistic programming that was in the Army at the time. And so I was slotted as the Equal Opportunity NCO, but what I basically did was teach hypnosis and NLP to Army spies. If you've seen the movie Men Who Stare at Goats.
No, but I remember the book, and yes.
That's the unit I was in.
Awesome.
That was the unit I was in.
Now I'm going to go find that book.
Yeah.
And watch that.
The movie's funny, but you know, some of the stuff in there really did happen.
Did the guy really, like, at a certain time run at the wall?
Yeah, Stubblebine. Yeah, Stubblebine would do that. They had Uri Geller there with the spin. Well, intelligence units by nature are compartmentalized. Mm-hmm. So you had all these you had a clique of spoon benders, and then you had a clique of Tony Robbins was doing the firewalking thing. Mm-hmm. And so you would get invited to a barbecue if you were special. And then we had the NLP people, and then we had the remote viewers. And
did you get invited to a barbecue?
I did get invited to a barbecue.
Did you firewalk?
I did firewalk.
Does it have more to do with standing on a cold floor before you do it?
It has more to do with getting across it pretty quick.
I watch the videos and I'm like, they're all standing on a concrete
Well,
floor.
your feet, in a sense, your feet start to sweat. So unless you're standing still, you're not going to, because your feet sweat and it'll form a water barrier between the fire and your foot.
I was just, yeah, I always looked at it as you were lowering the temperature of your feet and then you walked fast. That's really interesting, Tony. Now, so the Army really didn't have a lot of faith in NLPs? Yeah. I'm fascinated with NLP.
Right.
So.
General Stubblebine was doing crazy things, and eventually they relieved him of his job. I don't know if they relieved him, but they just replaced him, and that kind of stuff went away. And I retired at that point.
What do you think the best thing is about NLP? I mean, you obviously saw something in it.
I became interested in the linguistic part of it, mainly because what fascinated me was that, for example, since the English language is based on cause-effect,
yes,
an object causes something to happen, subject causes something to happen to an object, that you can challenge that structure. So if you say to me, this is the best interview I've ever had, I could say to you, what causes you to believe that? Mm-hmm. And you would say, whatever you say. But whatever you say is the criteria that supports your belief that it's the best interview you've ever had. So that tells me a lot about you, mm-hmm. and what standards you have for a good interview. I know about you now that I didn't know something about you before. Now, so maybe I can take some of that and generalize that and say, well, she likes people that, let's say, she likes people that are honest and straightforward and doesn't mind, whatever you would say. I might be able to generalize that into other parts of your life and make some predictions about how you respond to your boyfriend in this situation. And to some people, that's almost like reading minds. It's like, does that make sense?
No, it makes perfect sense.
So I always call that the magic question. What causes you to believe that? What makes you think that? That's the magic question. But there's much more to it than that. What I didn't like about it is it's very complicated. Mm-hmm. It's very hard to teach, and it's very hard to learn. You really have to practice it in order to be good at it. And so.
Mine was always very much simplistic. You know, there's a real, just a simplistic level of NLP in just how we talk to ourselves, right. And right. Word choice.
Right, exactly.
And that's as far as I ever got, but that alone to me was very fascinating. You know, that goes back to, do you say don't forget your mittens, or do you say remember your mittens, because of the way your brain functions?
Right.
Because your brain doesn't get don't.
Right.
So
right.
All it hears is forget your mittens or remember your mittens. Yeah. So which is it going to be?
Yeah, there is no such thing as negation in reality. Negation only happens in language, yeah.
Right. So for that really changed my whole word choice. And I think it does make a difference, you know, and that alone to me is fascinating. But what you're saying, I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Now I know something about you. I can extrapolate that out I can predict how you would react or what you would think.
I call them good perceptual guesses. I don't say I can predict. I said, but I can make some guesses about how you'd behave.
Yeah.
If someone says, I'm afraid of, if they're heterosexual and they say, I'm afraid of men, I go, I bet you don't date much. I mean, how did you know that?
It's not rocket science. I want to ask you a question that I noticed early on. We're going somewhere completely different. Yeah. Your bracelet is silver.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a kind of a golf thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I played a lot of golf for a while.
Okay.
And bangle bracelets, or these types of bracelets, were a big deal.
Well, most of the ones that I've seen that the guys
the
have.
brass mountain yard.
Yes.
I had
And I was
one of
like-
those. I lost it. I bought one online. It wasn't real. I wore it to a reunion, and the guy like, what? So I never wore one again. But these remind me of those, so that's why.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I hadn't seen the balls on the end. I'm like,
Yeah.
how come yours is silver and
Yeah.
everybody else's are brass?
Yeah, I wear it as a reminder of that,
Okay.
but I bought it as a golf thing.
I guess my final thing with you is your when did you meet Marshall Hall?
When did I meet Marshall Hall? I met Marshall Hall at Pontoon. So Marshall, how long have you known him?
Oh. I'm trying to think when I first met Marshall Hall. 5, 6, 7 years ago?
So,
Probably like 5, 6 years ago.
so Marshall and I, there were two waitresses at the club at Pontoon.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to venture out into the world of prostitution, but they were virgins. And so they got Marshall and I got drunk, and they invited us down to their place. They invited us down to their place. I didn't know that's why we were being invited. No, really, I didn't know we were being invited to de-virginize these women. and so I was pretty loaded, and anytime I tried something with this young woman, she was there, no, you number 10, and so I stopped, and evidently I passed out, and Marshall gave it a college try, but I don't think he was successful either. So that's a story that you probably haven't heard about Marshall Hall.
No. But it's a good one.
That's a good one. You can bribe him with that one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I liked him very much. He was a good guy.
So did you two hang out together in Pontoon?
I remember we hung out a lot together at Pontoon, but I don't think we were running buddies per se. I think I ran with Phil Brown a little bit more than I did with Marshall, but he and Bob Barnes were very friendly, and so I think they knew each other from 10th group or something like that, and so I was a big fan of Bob Barnes, and so he was part of the package.
What was Marshall like back then?
I think pretty quiet. He was just, matter of fact, he'd been around for a while before I even kind of noticed him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just quiet and did his business.
He always said that he ran, like it was him and his little people. He didn't have a second.
Is that right?
Yeah. So
That may be true. That may be
you
true.
knew that.
That may be true.
The quiet, I believe, he always said he was quiet.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a quiet guy.
Come on, you got any more stories about Marshall?
That's the only one that I can remember that stands out, because I remember him he kept punching me to wake me up. Wake up, wake up. And I'd look over and he was on top of this poor little girl, and I'd just fall back asleep.
Oh my goodness. Different times.
Different times. Way different times.
Different times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Would you do it again, Tony?
Yeah, absolutely. In my mind, I can't even imagine me doing it the first time. It's like it happened to somebody else. But yeah, I'd do it again. I'd be better at it this time.
Why?
I know the strategic importance of it, you know, I didn't get, I got the mission, and the mission was pretty much, you know, you go do this and that's what you do, and but I didn't get the strategic importance of you know, that everything is intelligence, you know, that anything the size of the branches, the firmness of the ground, any of that, all of that stuff is important. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get that. So I could have been a better recon guy if I'd have known that, you know, if I'd have thought in that way.
Do you think that special forces today are trained better in that area to notice those things, or do you think it's all just an acquirement?
Today, I have no idea. I don't know. My stepson asked me one time, what's it like in the Army to do X? And I thought to myself, I've been retired longer than I was in. I have no idea what kind of Army it is now, so I don't know.
That's fair.
I know there's a lot of hoopla I see on Facebook about training diminishing and that kind of stuff, but I don't know. You know, I'm sure they lowered standards for us because they were trying to get a lot of people in at the time.
So you think you'd be a better intelligence?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Doesn't that come with, you know, maturity though?
Of course. I mean, yeah, and now I've read books and I know the strategic importance of all this business that we did. You know, I had no idea at the time. As a matter of fact, it was classified and I just kind of forgot about it. And especially when I left Special Forces, I kind of drew a line there and said, oh, that was Special Forces, and now I'm doing this equal opportunity stuff, and then now I'm doing this management consulting stuff, and I kind of put that into the background. I didn't even know that there was a conference here until like 98. I was going to Sonoma State. I was trying to get a degree in linguistic anthropology, and I was driving down the road. I had a part-time job as a kind of a bouncer at a dungeon in San Francisco.
At a dungeon? At
a dungeon, a king dungeon. Whips and chains.
Mm.
So I was. I saw Charlie Berg. He had his license plate, MACV-SOG. This is when he lived in California. So I'm honking my horn. We pull off the next exit. He hops out with his one leg. I'm in leather pants, black cowboy boots, leather baseball cap, and a wife beater. And he's like looking me up and down. I was in SOG. Yeah, right. So I gave him my card. So by the time I got back home from work, he called on my answering machine. That shows you how long ago it was. He was on my answering machine, and he says, I didn't know you were on Jerry Waring's team. Oh, you got to go to the reunion. Yeah. So I went in '99 the first time I went. I didn't know anybody here. No one, almost a lot of people recognized me, but I didn't recognize anybody. It was strange. It was surreal. Mm-hmm. And just odd.
Did you recognize names, or you just truly didn't?
Hardly the names, too. Some people I did. I'll give you an example. There was a guy named Jim McGlone. Mm-hmm. They call him Old Blue at Contoon, and he was from Atlanta, and supposedly he took me under his wing and showed me the ropes, and he was coming to the '99 reunion because I was coming to the '99 reunion, and I didn't recognize him. I didn't know who he was. I pretended like I knew who he was. You know, I pretended to be happy to see him, but I didn't know who he was. And then he says to me, I tried to get in touch with you in 1978. I saw your father's obituary. Both of us are from Atlanta. Saw your father's obituary in the Atlanta newspaper, and I realized that I served in Korea with your father. And that was a strange thing.
Wow.
That was a strange thing.
That's a very strange thing. Well, you must have liked surreal because you came back.
Yeah, I did. I did. Well, this is the 50-year reunion of the class of '69. I got to see my CCS guys.
So did you finally start recognizing?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it, do you think you recognized more CCS than CCC?
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, most of those guys were my age.
Uh-huh.
You know, Bob Howard, Zabitowski, Marshall Hall, Bob Barnes were all like, you know, the guys you looked up to.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just a young guy, you know, so it was hard for me to put myself in as a peer to those folks. But when I was at Bambi Tuitt, I was a peer to everybody. I mean, everybody was my age almost,
Mm-hmm.
running recon.
Do you think that those skills that you learned in SF held up the rest of your military career and beyond? Or did you just still drop that wall?
I think I didn't think about it until retrospect, but I think that having that experience early on, when I moved into administration, equal opportunity and the management consultant, that gave me a bump up. It actually made me more credible in both fields. That I had combat experience and that I'd been somewhere and done things. Gave me some credibility, and plus got me promotions.
What about your leadership training, though?
I became a leadership expert, actually. When I left the management consultant school in Monterey, they had just come out with Air-Land Battle 2000, was the Army fighting doctrine. If you saw the war in Kuwait,